Namaste. So now let us cover out MCQs from the Special Marriage Act, and there are a ton of these and very important and crucial ones. So open your Bear Act. Secondly, if you are watching this lecture in the AILET CLAT course, you absolutely need not watch it. If you're watching it just for your gyan, then it's great. Otherwise, don't expect a single question except for one thing that I want to explain you. After that, I'll notify कि जी आप बंद कर सकते हैं. Even if you don't watch it, it is absolutely fine, all right? But to the LLB and LLM guys, first and foremost, the Special Marriage Act 1954. Now LLB, it's 3 LLB guys. 1954. Year yaad rakhna hai. I have seen this MCQ coming in the past year question paper. So this is an act to provide a special form of marriage. Now, for example, let us say a Hindu wants to marry a Muslim, or a Sikh wants to marry a Muslim, or a Muslim wants to marry, let us say, somebody from the Jain religion, or let us say two Hindus who have already married, they want to get themselves registered, that we don't want to, follow the religious codified laws. We are out of that domain. So therefore, we have the Special Marriages Act, because such marriages, like for example, a Hindu Muslim or a Sikh Muslim or a Muslim Jain, such marriages are not allowed as per the religious uncodified laws in the case of Muslims, and in the case of Hindus, that's the Hindu Marriage Act, which we are going to see in the course any which way. So you register the marriage under this act. So it is also known as a special marriage. So you are basically going away from the regular, you can say, the domain of things, and are registering it under here. So ji 1954, all right. Now this act may be called the Special Marriage Act. Okay, crucial point to note that it is also applicable to people that are domiciled in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Will never be asked, just for your knowledge. Now, degrees of prohibited relationship, alright. So in this act, unless the context otherwise requires, so हमारे जो CLAT AILET जनता है, we have to discuss till full blood, half blood, uterine blood. So hang on till then, and then basically you can move out. Degrees of prohibited relations, a man and any of the persons mentioned in part 1 of the first schedule. So basically, under these relationships, the Special Marriage Act will not register a marriage. All right, and we are just going to see those relationships unless it is allowed by a custom. And custom के ऊपर भी MCQ आता है, यहीं से आता है, ठीक है जी. So let us just pause this lecture, go to part 1 of the first schedule while I also reach there. So I am going to make a quick edit. I think if I cannot find it very easily, but I believe that I found it. So I'm not going to make an edit like I just did. Okay, the first schedule. So degrees of prohibited relations. So a man and any of the people mentioned in part 1 of the first schedule, and a woman in part 2. So a man cannot marry his mother. Man cannot marry father's widow. तो मतलब मान लेते हैं that there is a stepmother, now father is gone, so man won't be able to marry. Now do you have to remember any and all of these? Absolutely no. Just mark the crucial one in your Bear Act, because this defies common sense. Because let us say that if you haven't studied this and it appears in your exam, and then you're like, "Acha, main dekhta hu, father's widow." Father's widow is not your mother, by the way. Mother is a separate story altogether. It's the stepmother. Now, stepmother obviously is belonging to a different family, and let us say one person's father has passed away. Can you marry that woman now? No, it is a prohibited relationship. So can you marry that woman under this act? No, it comes within the degree of prohibited relationship. That's what it is. Acha, what about the son's widow? Let us say the son expires. Can Sasurji marry the Bahurani? No, it's degree of prohibited relationship. So these two basically, and rest of the stuff is pretty much obvious. You can just have a read through. Otherwise, koi ratta marne mat baithega. It's absolutely of no use. Just mark these two, and let's cover out the same case. Just the gender will change. अच्छा, mother's brother's daughter मैंने ऐਵੇਂ ही लिखा हुआ है, so that आपके basically blood relation यहीं से, इसीलिए blood relation वाली चीज law entrance में check होती है in the logical reasoning section. Alright, LLM वालों से तो of course नहीं होती, but for the LLB guys, so mother's brother's daughter, who is the mother का आपका brother हुआ, that is आपके मामा जी. मामा जी is the daughter, is his daughter. So that you are basically not going to be able to marry your cousin under the Special Marriage Act. That's what it's saying. Now again, for the same for the women, it's mother's husband. Mark that. Mother's husband, see, the act is making a differentiation. It's saying father is separate, mother's husband is separate. So mother's husband on a stepfather, elaborate out कर दिया. Rest are pretty much the most, they are obvious relationships. All right. Now that's about it. That's all that you have to mark from the first schedule. Now we come back here. All right. So relationship includes relationship by half or uterine blood as well as by full blood. Now to the LLM Janta, this is frequently asked, and in fact we have already covered this out in a separate lecture in the course under the family law section already, the definitions that is, but we are going to revise it here as well. CLAT AILET वाले भी इस चीज को जरूर लिख ले, बाकी आपको कुछ लिखना नहीं लिखना, doesn't really matter. एक कस्टम के बारे में लिखेंगे और यहाँ पे लिखेंगे बस, that's about it. ठीक है जी. Relationship by half or uterine blood as well as by full blood. Illegitimate blood relationship as well as legitimate. Relationship by adoption as well as by blood. So let us say that your father has adopted someone and now you are really interested in them and you are giving the argument, hey, but I'm not connected to you by blood. That's what it's saying. Relationship by adoption, that is also coming within the degrees of prohibited relationship. तो जी अब ये full blood half blood का सीन क्या है, यही डेफिनेशन इंपॉर्टेंट है. इसके बारे में हम ऑलरेडी लेक्चर में कर चुके हैं, बट एक बार फिर से देख लेते हैं. टू पर्सन्स आर सेड टू बी रिलेटेड टू ईच अदर बाय फुल ब्लड, कि जी आप मतलब आपका जी पूरा पूरा रिश्ता है. When they are descended from a common ancestor by the same wife. Now in real life example, common ancestor by the same wife, meaning father same है, mother भी same है. What are full blood relations then? Well, your brothers, sisters, right? You are connected by full blood because the blood is the same in you. Okay. And by half blood, when they are descended from a common ancestor but by different wives. तो ये याद रखना है. Full blood, common ancestor, same wife. Half blood, common ancestor, different wives. Now think about it. Why is it being said by like half blood? आधा है ना, common ancestor तो एक बंदे का 50% खून आ गया. लेकिन दूसरी अब by different wives. So for example, let us say father साहब हैं, basically let us say person number 1, and then the first wife dies, and then he marries somebody else. So that is the second wife. Okay. Now the first wife dies, but first wife has 2 kids, and from the second wife he also has 2 kids. They will be said to be related by half blood. All right. But if the wife is the same, let us say you have 7 kids, मतलब ज़्यादा ही हो गए, but ठीक है, 7 kids, then full blood. Okay. So full blood में दोनों पेरेंट्स का बेसिकली पूरा खून आ गया, 50 माता का 50 पिता का. यहाँ पे हाफ ब्लड में पिताजी सेम रह गए, माताजी बदल गई, तो इसलिए 50% खून बदल गया. That's what basically the logic behind this etymology is. Now uterine blood. Now what is the uterus? Basically the womb in which we all have come out from. So uterine blood, two persons are said to be related to each other by uterine blood when they are descended from a common ancestress but by different husbands. So you have basically the same mother but from different fathers. So for example, let us say mother has a kid from marriage number 1, and then mother has another kid from marriage number 2. So the husband has changed. So both of those people are called as, they are connected by uterine blood because you share the same womb. मदर का जी यूट्रस तो एक ही है ना जिसमें से आप दोनों निकले हैं, ठीक है. फादर का खून अलग अलग आया, तो there you are connected by uterine blood. ठीक है जी. Crucial definitions for the purposes of a 3-year LLB entrance as well as a LLM entrance. In fact, LLM entrance अगर आप DU LLM 2020 का पेपर उठाएंगे, these definitions were asked, match the following. Okay. Now there is somebody called a marriage officer, but we'll come to that as well. We have to cover out customs. So for the purposes of this act, the state government may by notification in the official gazette appoint 1 or more marriage officers. So the MCQ is marriage officers are appointed under which act for the purposes of solemnization of marriages? That is the Special Marriage Act. That is the MCQ. Okay. Then conditions relating to solemnization of special marriages. Now key pointer to note here. अच्छा, अभी AILET CLAT जनता मैंने आपको जाने नहीं दिया, अभी बैठे रहेंगे इसी लेक्चर के अंदर और देखते रहेंगे. Notwithstanding anything contained in any other law for the time in force relating to solemnization of marriage, underline this, a marriage between any 2 persons. तो अब ये क्या हो गया, any 2 persons में चाहे हिंदू हो, मुस्लिम हो, सिख हो, जैन हो. क्रिश्चियन के ऊपर थोड़ी सी कॉन्ट्रोवर्सी है because as per the section 4 of their act they say Christian, basically marriages between Christian will only be solemnized under that act. So there's always a controversy there, but not getting into that because that is PhD level stuff. Okay, so any 2 persons, कोई भी दो, any two persons we want कि जी आप मैरिज स्पेशल मैरिज एक्ट के तहत करा सकते हैं, ठीक है जी. Now conditions क्या है? Neither party has a spouse living. Condition number 1. Neither party is incapable of giving a valid consent, so we need valid consent. We need sound mind. Though capable of giving a valid consent, has been suffering from mental disorder, so we don't want mental disorders, which basically ये आपके it affects the consent, because consent has to be free, as we have seen in the Contract Act. Has been subject to recurrent attacks of insanity. Let's ignore that. But the most important MCQ, what is the age? The male, you have to have completed 21 years, and the female, it's 18 years. ठीक है जी. Most important age, and most important, in fact, to tell you honestly, this is one of the most important MCQs that can come out from the Special Marriage Act. Now, in this section, custom. So if you have ever done past years of any exam that you may be taking, you will see custom के ऊपर MCQ आता है, वो यहीं से आता है, ठीक है जी. अच्छा, so custom की valid condition that such rule has been continuously and uniformly observed. So what is the customs? Custom is basically pratha, you know, something unique that is not codified anywhere, but is just a, you can say a habit or behavior that has now transformed into a mini law of sort among the people. Okay, so it has to have been continuously and uniformly observed. The rule is certain कि क्या करना है इस चीज के अंदर, and not unreasonable or opposed to public policy. You know, it just cannot be immoral that public order etc gets disturbed. And that such rule, if only applicable to only a family, has not been discontinued by the family. So you know, if family is following that custom, well, great. So such a custom, the state government may, by notification in the official gazette, well, they may specify it in the official gazette. Any which way. The most crucial bit, it has to be continuous, the custom. It has to be uniformly observed. So basically, मान लेते हैं 100 साल एक प्रथा चली आ रही है, and then you know then there is a break. No, that's not a valid custom. So for a valid custom, it has to be continuous, uniformly observed. It has to be certain, and it cannot be opposed to public policy. This is crucial. ठीक है जी. Now we come to case law time, and I believe ये जो 30 दिन का notice period, in fact this is a legal current affair as well, but let us cover this out in the next one, ताकि मतलब काम अच्छे से हमारा चलते रहे. That course remains bifurcated. तो अभी तक हमने जो most important basically हमने काम कर लिया है from Special Marriage Act. Now we'll have basically an ancillary discussion. I believe एक दो lectures में ये काम खत्म हो जाने चाहिए, because this act barely has like 51 sections any which way. ठीक है जी. तो now see you in this one, ताकि हम लोग जरा notes अपने organized रखें. Take care.